Good afternoon to everyone present here. I hope you all are doing well. I, Himani Jaruhar, on behalf of the whole team of IP Press, would like to welcome you all to the workshop on non-fungible tokens and its impact on the current intellectual property. Before beginning, I'd like to brief you all about the IP Press. The IP Press is a team of IP holics who started this blog to ensure to the latest intellectual properties issues for all the IP hopefuls. Our focus is to address the IP concerns of stakeholders, students, academicians, researchers, startups, etc., and to guide them to attain and enforce their IP rights. We not only hold expertise in law and IP, but our team of technically skilled professionals, IP specialists, and patent agents give us a better understanding to deal with technical issues in intellectual property. To focus on national and international issues, we are supported with international IP experts as well. You can check out the website www.theippress.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to get the updates. To add on, I'd like to play a short video about the IP Press. Before beginning with the session, I'd like to get you familiar with this platform, AirMeet. The platform provides an option for the attendees to ask questions in the question box. Moderator will check the questions and ask it from the speakers. If some attendees wish to ask the same question, they can simply upvote that question by clicking the like button appearing below the question on your screen. This will give us the importance of the question and we will be asking the speaker accordingly. In case there is any attendee who wishes to interact with the speaker by entering the stage, there is an option on the screen to raise your hand. If you click on that option, the moderator will allow you to enter the stage and speak with and to interact with the speaker publicly. You may also interact or discuss in the chat box appearing on the screen to answer, discuss, or interact with the speaker or any other attendees in public or private chats as well. Now, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker for the day, Advocate Girish Bhatia. Advocate Girish Bhatia is an associate at RNA Technology and IP Attorneys, and he is part of the dispute resolution team of the firm. He holds an expertise of more than 3 years in IP prosecution and opposition. In the course of his professional journey, he has advised MNCs, Indian companies, and individuals from different sectors, including but not limited to FMCG, automobiles, skincares, healthcares, over registration of marks, designs, and well-known marks. Apart from the intellectual property, he has advised clients on legal metrology laws and consumer protection laws as well. In the recent times, he has taken various webinars on topics like importance of registration of brands as trademark, difficulties faced by the non-conventional marks in India, and trademarks and its enforcement, etc. Additionally, his contributions also extend to judging national moot court competitions, mentoring teams, and taking various sessions on moot courts. He was also invited as a guest for a guest lecture in MIT University. Further, he has been appointed as a member of expert panel of Center of Legal Research and Study and Lexpert Assist. Now, without any further delay, I'd like to call Mr. Girish on stage. Over to you, sir.
First of all, thank you so much, Himani, for this wonderful introduction. It's like a detailed one, but yeah, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking out your time to learn more about NFTs and IP. There's a short presentation that I prepared for you all so that it's basically so that you can understand the particular topic very easily rather than me going to depth to that particular topic. I'll just share my screen. Can anyone see my screen?
No, sir, the screen is not visible yet.
Okay, just a second. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, there's some issues and just okay. Can you see it finally?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So basically, first of all, I hope everyone is doing well in these challenging times. We'll be start talking about this particular topic, non-fungible tokens and IP and everything. Okay. So before starting, I would like to know anyone who is aware of non-fungible tokens and what non-fungible tokens are and what are your views in this. Anyone who can unmute themselves because I cannot see the chat box. So yeah. Okay, so hearing from none, I'll just begin it. So non-fungible tokens, which all of a sudden basically grabbed the attention and attracted art lovers and its towards itself and its impact on the traditional intellectual property rights. Why are we saying that it's basically affecting the intellectual property rights? See, what happens with non-fungible tokens, it's a recent topic and nobody is much aware since there's no such law currently in the motion. Okay. So we all are aware that how piece of art is basically a valuable asset to the art lovers, but for others, it's just a normal art or a digital photo that you other people see. Okay. But in the current time, when the pandemic affected everyone, people shifted to cryptocurrencies and everything, right? Oh, there's some issue. Just a second. Okay. Can you see the screen once again, Himani?
Yes, sir, it's
Uh,
visible.
yeah. So before like for further any delay, we'll just begin and understand about the format, what NFTs are, how IPR affects the NFTs, and also how NFTs affect the IPRs. So this pandemic not only made us learn about COVID, but also brought our attention towards terms like cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and last but not the least, NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. Dogecoin, as people now say that buy on dips, the major factor and the unique factor with the NFT is, unlike cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, you cannot buy or you cannot buy this particular NFT token on the dips because this is unique and it's the feature or the most important feature of this particular NFT is or the particular segment is that it's unique. This is only one in the country or worldwide. So the price will automatically go higher and high. For now, basically, what happens with NFTs is you have a digital coin, okay? Unlike cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, that we'll understand how NFTs are unique in its segment. Now, any idea what anyone, as I asked earlier, what are NFTs? Any basic idea? Himani, if you can unmute people because I cannot see the chat box. so that people are okay in answering.
Uh, we don't have any reply yet.
Okay, no issues. I'll just continue with this. So NFTs can be termed as a unique file that is present on a blockchain and can only be brought by a cryptocurrency or dollars. It is a digital asset which includes various artworks, real estate, and any other platform that can be converted into a blockchain. NFT has a unique blockchain which assists in avoiding fake NFTs. So, as I mentioned earlier, these are basically the normal picture image that you see in the market, which can be there can be fake as well. So you are not even aware whether it's a real one or a fake one. But the good part about the NFT is you get a digitally signed receipt from the owner who or the person who has created the NFTs in the market. Upon the purchase of the NFT, the seller shares a cryptographically signed report or receipt, which is automatically being transferred to the buyer's account. This is just a normal buyer and a seller relationship between the person who is the creator and the buyer who just buys the NFTs. To simplify this for you, I'll just give you an example. So, for example, any painting between what has been that has been made by Mr. M.F. Hussain. So, this is only one painting in the world. Nobody else can copy that particular thing. That is same in NFT. The prices go high because that is a single piece which is being prepared by the person, and any slight change in the blockchain will basically change the figure in together. So each and every NFT in the market is unique and you have a value attached to it. To give you a general idea how NFT bubble is big, there was a digital artist, if I am not wrong, it's Beeple. So he sold an NFT artwork for worth rupees $69 million. Can you even imagine? Just a painting, digital painting or digital art selling for $69 million. There was just one more basically artist, digital artist, who sold an NFT of just a plant for worth rupees $5.8 million. Just a plant, that too on a digital platform for 5.8 million. So let's see what an NFT includes. We are just talking about the digital art. We are just talking about the pictures and image. What it really includes. So the first one is art itself that we're talking about. Any painting that you see or come across, if converted to a digital market and digital world, it will be an NFT through blockchain. There's a collectibles, anything and everything that you see around yourself, and basically any belongings that you have that can also be termed as an NFT. GIFs. Each one of us is aware of this particular term. Even GIFs is basically converted to a digital token and can be sold online. Virtual avatars and video game skins. Everyone has played PUBG, right? And GTS and India's everything. Even if you sell that, and if you even if you create that particular uh, art or video avatar, that can also be there's a purchaser waiting for your particular art. So now is designer sneakers. The sneakers looks good on road, but then a sneaker worth rupees 1.8 million. Will you even buy it? I'm not sure whether you will buy it or not, but then there are people who are ready to buy it. Video and sports highlights. So anyone, if someone wishes to converts the Neeraj Chopra's javelin throw in a video form, and if there's a buyer because it's the first gold medal and a craze around it, if someone wishes to buy that particular thing also, it will be sold on an NFT platform. The next is virtual land. People are looking for lands in Gurgaon, Delhi, or any other state or city. But then a land on an NFT on a digital platform is also sold in the market. The next is music. Just to give you a basic idea, Raftar was in the process of launching a music on NFT. Also, Nuclear was in the process of launching the same. So these are few artists who are ready to sell their uh, music on a platform where people are ready to buy for millions and millions. Now the last one is tokenized real world assets from the real estates, cars and everything. So if I can conclude from all this, I can just say anything that you see around yourself currently, if converted in a digital platform through a blockchain, can be registered as an NFT and can be sold in the market, because buyers of NFTs are crazy and they are ready to buy each and everything. Now, so these are few of them which I was talking about. Uh, these images were sold for like millions and billions. Anyone who wishes to buy this particular thing, it's your call. But then this is just a piece of art without any future at the moment. Now, the logical question that I had for myself, and I guess each one of you has for themselves, is what is something which makes a NFT unique? Why people are buying in and either investing or wasting their money on an NFT? What is this craze all about? So the first and the foremost thing is that it cannot be exchanged with any other NFTs. As I mentioned earlier, cryptocurrency is basically an asset. NFTs is not an asset. Asset in the sense, it's not a currency, but cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoins, these are basically the currencies which are in the market, and you can buy and sell products, or you can exchange that with some other one, but not with the NFTs. This is in a way good for NFTs, but then there is no such long run currently in the market for NFTs. The next is assisting in finding true owners of the art. The first and the foremost thing, apart from exchanging NFTs, is that through blockchain you have a cryptographically signed certificate that the buyer gets it, and the seller can be tracked easily. This is in a way positive, but in the coming slide I'll let you know why this is a negative thing as well when it comes to IP. The last is it's easy to store. A big huge painting which is occupying a lot of space at your home, why do you wish to keep it and ease your why do you wish to keep it in your house and just utilize that space? NFT gives you that particular advantage that you have a digital wallet on which you can save an NFT, and you can have a track of all the NFTs that you have in your bank account or any digital account. Now, it's time to see some amazing NFTs which were a hype last year and are still in the market. So, this is the first tweet by the founder of Twitter. Can you even imagine for the amount this was being sold for? The first tweet, which is for me at least a useless one because there's no point for me keeping it. But then this was sold for a whopping $2.9 million. Taco Bell. Anyone who is up for a taco, for this digital taco, you need to pay $187,000. Okay, I am very sure that there are pizza lovers in the audience and who are attending this session. A random Pizza Hut token, any pizza slice lover or pizza lover, if you wish to buy this, this is for almost $9,000. Isn't that crazy? So this is just a hype at the moment because the price that you will pay for an NFT is way too much. Okay, now we'll see. Uh, should world have all the fun, or also the Indians are a part of it? This bubble. Certainly, yes. India is also a part of this bubble and has entered the world of NFTs. A Chennai-based software developer, Siraj Hassan, sold his Cage series for whopping, you can say, $177. If not this, I'll just tell you the other one. This another NFT token that you see on your screen is by Mr. Amarjeet Singh, who claims himself to be a digital artist. This was sold for $400 almost. And just to tell you, he also has a website through which you can buy the product, buy the NFTs, and it is available for sale. The total collection of Amrajit Singh is for almost 60.07 Ethereums, which is way too much if you calculate as per the conversion rate. This another last one is another part of a cage series, which was sold for almost $900. Now, would you like to buy these? The question depends, and this is a self call. But to be honest, this is just a document or a token which is saved in your digital wallet. There's no such importance because this market is still a gray area for many. But then people are investing their money in this particular thing. Now comes the very important question that each one of us is here for, and also many of us are looking at answers for. Are NFTs legally valid in the current times? Some of you might say yes, it's legally valid because until unless there's a law which is not barring them till the time they are legal. Someone will say no because there's no future, to be very honest. There's no future, and what if the government bans it tomorrow? Some might be very dicey, some might say no or yes, it is legal and it is not legal at the same time, and the other way around. What are your views? I wish to understand your views on this particular thing. Are the NFTs legal or valid? I'll see the chat box at last, but I wish to see your answers and get an idea about what you guys think. Okay, I'll just give you 30 seconds to write it out. After that, we'll continue with this particular presentation. Okay, so assuming that you all have mentioned something on the chat box, let's see what the legal position is. At the moment, we cannot say it's legal or it's illegal, since there are no laws which are regulating or have any impact on NFTs or any tokens. Not even in India, but also internationally, there aren't any laws. Some countries have accepted this, but some are yet to take a call on this. The traditional laws of adoption or adapting themselves, which includes the NFTs and the cryptocurrencies, but then it's very difficult for them as well to adapt to the new tokens and the coins. What does India says in this? There was a bill which was about to be introduced in this monsoon session, which was termed as banning of cryptocurrency and regulation of official bill digital currency bill. Now the point is, why we do not have any other law or any other law for non fungible tokens, and why are we considering as a currency? The definition of this particular cryptocurrency or currency, as per the act, says so that a cryptocurrency, by whatever name called, means information or code or number or token. Now, this is what the companies and this is what the investors are looking for. In India, basically, they are included under the term cryptocurrency. For them, it's the simple thing. For government, it's just any other currency or any other digital market thing which is illegal at the moment, and they do not have a separate law. So if you read the definition, it will clearly say that it's a part of a cryptocurrency, and there is no separate definition in that particular bill which is being mentioned. So now the government was yet to introduce this particular bill in the parliament. But then what happened, we'll understand this in the upcoming slide. Also, just to let you know, uh, since we are in this particular country and we basically need everything which is made in India, RBI and the government were in the discussions to launch a digital currency or rupee in the digital world so that we can regulate it. So this was a drawback as well as a good thing, which they introduced the RBI as well as the government. So what was the initial purpose of banning of cryptocurrency? Why the government thought that they'll ban the cryptocurrency? So they were in a way to ban this particular currency, only the private one, just to let you know. They were against the private currencies which are in the market or the existing currencies in the market, but not against the concept of the digital world and its currency. As I mentioned earlier, they were in a way and a process to launch the digital currency in their own form, which was a rupee. So they were all charged up, and for them, they legalized the digital currency after a discussion, and they were in that process through that bill to legalize rupee in the digital world, but not the existing cryptocurrency. Why? The question, if you ask this yourself, it's all about the reliability. Since there are no such laws at the moment, which basically govern these private cryptocurrencies, and also uh, nobody can take a charge, and when people are investing a huge amount, not only in India but also internationally, it is more sensible to launch something which is reliable, and government can take a charge on that as well. But there were few exceptions which were considered in this particular bill, which was basically technology, as I mentioned earlier. So they were never against the technology. They were okay having a digital currency as a way or as a part of currency. But the point is, they were not ready to accept the existing currencies in the market. Now, if supposedly if this was passed currently in the monsoon session, which is not yet passed, not even tabled, what were the penalties that we are looking for? So any cryptocurrency or any, including the token as well, directly or indirectly mining, generating, holding, selling, dealing, transfer, or cryptocurrency, or any combination of these was penalized. The charges are also mentioned depending on the act that has been done. So if any individual who is issuing a cryptocurrency related to financial products, or is anyway generating funds from that particular cryptocurrency, or is using that as a part of an investment, will be charged with a fine or imprisonment, which shall not be less than 1 year, but which may extend up to 10 years. Now, the next set of penalties for the acts are, if someone is using these cryptocurrencies, just to tell you, token is a part of cryptocurrency because we are using this term cryptocurrency, but the topic is of NFT. So, as per the bill, NFT is a part of cryptocurrency. So any person who is using that particular cryptocurrency as a payment system will be penalized. Anyone who is buying, selling, or storing an NFT or a cryptocurrency is penalized. Provides any cryptocurrency related services to consumers. If there's a third person who is giving advices and assisting in buying, selling, or any other services is penalized. Trading of any NFTs or cryptocurrencies is also penalized. And also, if someone is giving that cryptocurrency or NFT as a part of credit, was also penalized. The fine or the fine for that particular was up to 10 years, or any fine, or up to 10 years of penalties. So this was something which was initiated once the bill was passed. But now the issue is the bill was never tabled. There was no discussion on this particular topic whether they need to ban a cryptocurrency or whether they have to keep it. Why so? Now, what is the logic behind this? What does our honorable minister says in this particular topic, and why this was not tabled? They, in the heat of the moment, basically got a bill without looking into the matter and without any discussions. But then now they realized how big the market is. So they were supposed, as I mentioned earlier, they were supposed to introduce the bill in the budget session, the parliament in the monsoon session, but then it was not passed because due to heavy backlash from the cryptocurrency, or the people from the cryptocurrency, or the investors. And also one more important was point, that was the number of investors India has seen in the crypto right now, or the non-fungible tokens. As I mentioned above with the examples of people selling or making NFTs, there are few platforms like CoinDCX, WazirX, and all. These are the platforms through which Indians are buying these NFTs. Now, they are also storing their digital wallet. The concern for the government was, even if we basically pass this, there will be a lot of money which is in the circulation will be deleted in a second. Now, and with the people will face a huge loss in that particular, not only Indians but people internationally as well. The government is still in the process of determining and in discussions with different people whether we should legalize it or not, and also if there's any middle ground that they can come upon, because they do not want, they like the idea or the concept of a digital currency, but then everything comes down or stoops down to the investment people have made, and millions of billions of people who have invested a lot of money in this particular topic or any token. The last is, as I mentioned, which is the middle ground that the government is looking for. Now, the another question, even if not this time, if even if they launch it in or legalize it in the upcoming years, how will they treat it? How an NFT will be treated in the upcoming years? Any idea? Like, even if you go by the logic sense, how it will be treated? See, what happens with cryptocurrency or NFT is it is still not regulated, which is a major concern to each one of us at the moment who have invested in this. But then, even if it is passed, it will be termed as a normal any other asset class or a currency which is circulate in the market. As I mentioned earlier, it's basically the nature which makes it a asset or a currency for different people in the market. If you see what is NFT, you just buy and sell it, which you normally do in the market as well. You buy a painting, you sell a painting. So the nature of the product or the asset is that you buy and sell just like any other thing, but the only difference is it's on a digital world. The next one is for the tax purposes, it will be counted as your stocks, which is, and even if you are aware a bit of tax market or tax law, you have to pay a tax on these stocks or dividends on anything which you are getting from the stock market or any bond or securities. So, unlike these particular instruments, NFTs or cryptocurrency will be accepted in the same way. There's no such difference which will be marked in accepting these and also charging a tax on that particular thing. There's this one interesting case that I'm assuming that you will be aware of. It's basically of Internet and Mobile Association of India versus RBI, where Supreme Court directed RBI to treat a crypto just like any other instrument under the FEMA Act. So, as I told earlier, the nature is being considered similar by the Supreme Court as well. You can buy and sell for cryptocurrency, the Dogecoin, the Ethereum. These are just a format of currency, but in a digital world in a private form. So the same thing will follow on the NFTs as well. These will be treated just a normal instrument or any asset which is being brought by the person and sold in the market. Now, what is the legal position internationally? If we are talking only about the India, the law which is yet to be passed and which is still into discussions, what do you think is followed internationally? This was in the news that some of the countries have accepted NFTs as a currency or cryptocurrency as a currency, as an official currency of that particular country, but no such law is currently made on NFTs. As I mentioned earlier, there are no clear guidelines. There are discussion papers in the market. There are people who are researching on this, and there are advices which are being given to the government or different governments from different countries. But then there's a law which is yet to be passed for cryptocurrency as well as the NFTs. As per the US Commodity Exchange Act, they consider this as a commodity, and the logic remains the same. Uh, the nature will act as a good form to find a way to legalize NFTs and the cryptocurrencies, because each and every country and each and every person is considering NFTs and cryptocurrencies as a just a normal asset or a currency which is traded in the market. So, for example, if I would say stock market, if I say stock market, that is basically a digital asset that you are having in your not in your digital account, but that is on your paper. Same thing with goes with NFT. Even if you buy it, that will be in your hands. You have a cryptographically signed letter that will be provided to you, but then it is on a digital world. That is a slight difference, which is making people rethink and making think twice on these particular aspects, where the cryptocurrency is degraded at times and there are news in the market. Now, the next is anti-money laundering laws of the different countries. and the cybersecurity concerns. I'll just give you an example of how it works. With cyber threats and with increasing point of time, you have seen people with cyber frauds, and it's not even currently, you just get a call that you have to give an OTP, and people get fooled of that particular thing and are uh, in this particular market because of and are also gone through this number of frauds, the cyber frauds, and you get your bank accounts closed like in seconds and there's no money. So the one and the foremost thing that basically is in this particular currency or cyber security is the concern. Everything is digital. What if some hacker changes each and everything and you're not even aware of that, because you will not even get a message that your NFT has gone? What is the limit? How will we say and secure our NFTs in the market? What if someone changes any the blockchain language that they are putting? As a layman, I am not aware. If I buy it tomorrow, what happens if the cyber security people or cyber hackers basically make any changes? Are you aware? As a lawyer and as a layman, I am not aware of the technical terms in IT world. So this is a major concern, and that is why people are researching and struggling at the moment to create a law on NFTs and cyber cryptocurrency. There are draft guidelines in different countries. EU is one of them. European Union is one of them. Basically, they are considering the same as a virtual asset, and the same the logic behind accepting this as a asset goes same. Now, why people think it's a bubble? As we now say, and people have been talking in past, why a cryptocurrency is a bubble, why an NFT is a bubble. I want you all to write in the chat box so that I can see at the last why you guys think it's a bubble. Not just on the ground that it's a legally valid thing or not, but any other logical reasons that you think which makes NFTs or cryptocurrency a bubble, or this particular digital world assets and currency a bubble. I'll just give you like 30 seconds for this and then we'll continue the session. Okay, assuming that you have mentioned something, I'll just continue with this. It's at a very early stage. Nobody is much aware what an NFT is, how it works, will there be frauds or not, whether I can commit someone that I'll sell you, but the other person is not aware of, for example, your digitally signed concept or a letter or certificate. So there's a lot which needs to be researched with the technical people in this particular matter. Just a random person or a layman can comment on this particular thing, but then there's a lot which needs to be researched on an NFT, because there's a lot of cyber or internet which is involved in this, and looking at the ratio of internet threats and cyber frauds, it's very important to look into this particular aspect as well. The next is there's no regulatory body. Nobody is there to keep a check on me what I am selling in this. So there's no government, there's no regulatory body to check. So, for example, in IPR, we have these registries to keep a check whether we are filing a trademark application or a copyright application. There are registries to check whether I'm filing a patent application to track that. But in a crypto world or a digital world, there is no such body. Someone might fool me by sending just an image, as you see, as you saw in your earlier slides. These are just images which are being sold or circulated in the market, and you are not even aware whether it's a valid NFT or not. So there's no regulatory body, which makes it more in detail to search upon whether there will be a regulatory body or whether governments are considering to make a regulatory body, not even in specific country but internationally. So it will help. Basically, it's a digital world, and every one of us is connected to any other person from different country. Even if I wish to sell something NFT from India to someone settling in USA, and if I'm selling a forged NFT, there's no regulatory body to keep a check on me. And since there's no law currently at the moment, people are ready to fool you. The next is they are not governed by any law, and this we have already discussed in detail, that this is basically something which will take a lot of time. and a lot of countries are struggling with this issue at the moment. More reliability on such platform can attract the digital theft. As I mentioned earlier, a layman will not even be aware what a hacker can do to its digital asset. If you see, the first tweet was sold for a whopping $1 million. What if someone just cracks it and takes it? I'll be left with nothing by even by investing a lot of $1 million in that. The last is it raises a lot of environmental concerns. Now, even if you're a bit aware of what is going on through UN and all, we have sustainable development goals. And one of the goal is that we need to keep the temperature of Earth around or less than 1 degree. But at the moment, it's around 1.5 degrees and it will reach the same in next coming up few years. Cryptocurrencies or NFTs are a major hurdle to this, and there are various environmentalists who are raising the concern because you need a lot of electricity to build these particular to generate or to mint these NFTs or cryptocurrencies. Now, whenever you mint a basically cryptocurrency or NFT, you pay a hefty amount, not just by minting, but then it releases a lot of carbon dioxide, which is anyway affecting us, and for a long run, it's very harmful, which is a concern to UN as well at the moment, considering the amount of energy that is being utilized and the uh, improper rays, or if you say the carbon dioxide which they are releasing at the moment. Now, are there any benefits also, or there are only negatives with the NFTs? Okay, I am buying something, and what if it's tomorrow gets legalized? I'll be richer, then I'll be rich, and nobody will be have any idea about that particular thing. But then, apart from that, what is the other benefits? All the first is it discourages plagiarism. As I told you earlier with the example of Mr. MF Hussain, this product is only one in the market. Nobody can buy it, and you will be the sole proprietor and owner of this one single piece. So for example, everyone is aware of Bugatti. Right? The first Bugatti is known by each and every one of us who has that particular car. So is with the NFTs. If it's a very well-known NFT, each one of us will know that particular person. So the identity in a way, it's so basically the person who buys this particular product, in a way it gets very famous because you have that product, and nobody else can copy that because a slight change in the blockchain will lead to a different image. The next is it's boom for a digital artist. So, and you have seen during this pandemic, their artists have suffered a lot and they were struggling to earn something or even a small penny. What happened? The craze of a cryptocurrency or an NFT in the market is so that whatever you make is going to be sold tomorrow in the market. It might take some time, but then people are ready to buy and invest because they know it's one single piece and the amount will be doubled in upcoming years if it's legalized. And just to give you a small idea, when this call was taken by the government that we'll not table this bill, the Bitcoin went to a different height. The next is it could be an investment as a digital artist, and as we say now in the world, since it includes land, it includes cars, it also works as a digital asset and a investment that can be monetized at a later stage when you need that particular money, only if it's legalized. The next is it's a kind of an asset in the parallel world, and we have been talking about throughout this session about this particular thing. The last is it's a major blockchain revolution. But then, are you even aware whether this blockchain revolution will be successful or not? It's just the time which will tell you this. But then people are heavily investing in this revolution. Now, we'll move to the second part of the session, which talks about the impact on IP. We have these old laws, which are very like old at the moment, I would say, as an IP lawyer, because we are not ready to accept the unconventional trademarks at the moment. then this is something which is on a different platform and a different scenario in a digital world. So there are so many IP laws in the session. I am very much aware. So what are your views? Does it impact the IP's law, or we need to amend these laws as per the NFTs? I'll give you 30 seconds to answer it in a yes or a no, and also would love to take your views. What do you guys think? Does it impact the IP at the moment or not? We'll give you 30 seconds and then we'll continue with the session. Okay, assuming that you have mentioned your answers, let's move to the other one. Now, when we talk about NFTs and the trademarks in which we talk about the brand and the products which are marketed, which is in a clear sense what a trademark is and what a brand for a company values. As per the trademark law, see, at the moment we can only get the software through which, or the online marketplace through which we are buying or selling the NFTs is only registered at the moment with the trademark. There's an application. There are not even one application. There are thousands of applications in the US which have been filed for being a marketplace of buying and selling of NFTs. But the law is still unclear if you can get a registration on the NFTs per se. But with the platforms just like WazirX and CoinDX, you can obviously get a registration on the name in that particular specific class. Now, coming to the copyright. Now, we have already discussed how it works. It's basically an art form. It's a drawing. It's a GIF. It's a virtual land. Any drawing that it is being made and being sold through a blockchain is a copyright work, and you do not need with the copyright law any registration for that. Once you prepare that particular thing, you are the owner of the copyright, and it's not necessary for you to get a copyright registration. So for example, if I am creating a blockchain for any token, I am anyway the copyright owner. I do not need any registration for that. Now comes the patent. This is a bit confusing at the moment, and also not specialization in the patent. It was a bit difficult for me also to understand this particular topic. But then looks like Nike has already secured a registration over the patent where it tracks the owner of the NFTs. So what happens with the Nike is when you buy a pair of sneakers with them, they'll also give you a cryptographically signed certificate, which is also a part of NFT. So the sneakers that you have bought will be converted by the people at Nike and will give you a number as well as a certificate of an NFT. And through this, they can the sneakers at the moment, or wherever the sneaker is, they are able to track that particular thing. Now we'll discuss in detail how these work, specifically for starting with trademarks. In trademark, it's very obvious as per the definition of trademarks that it should be capable of being represented graphically. When you see these three NFTs, you can easily say that it can be represented graphically. The other one is it should distinguish the goods or services of one person from the other. These three follow this particular thing as well, and they are capable of distinguishing the goods or services. The next is may include shape, goods, their packaging, and combination of colors. Now, the logic or the logic behind trademark is that the companies prepare a trademark and get a registration so that they can have a monopoly over that particular brand. But then with NFTs, the issue that is being faced and currently is you have a monopoly, but then you cannot make the same thing twice, because the nature of NFT is that it has to be unique. If there's another blockchain that is being prepared for the same one, then this will diminish the nature of that particular asset. Then it will be just like any other cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin, which will not make the same unique. Though these particular three NFTs or tokens that you see on your slide are registered, but then it will not be registered at the moment because of the laws that we have and the logic that the trademark follow. Now coming back to the copyright one. So, as I mentioned earlier, you do not need a specific registration for a copyright. But then, as per the definition, these particular tokens, which are mentioned in the slide, do fall in one of the headings as per the copyright law. But then the issue which is being faced by them is of ownership. Since I mentioned there is no regulatory body, if I wish to transfer my NFT to any one of you, there's no regulatory body to transfer that particular NFT, and I'll still be the owner even if this is being sent to or sold to 10 or 12 more people. Just to give you an example, for assignment of a copyright or a trademark, we basically file requests so that the other person who is the owner then gets on the record. But what happens with the NFT? There is no such body, and the real owner will always be the owner until and unless there's a law. The another issue that is being faced is of fraud, which we have already discussed. So what happens with the copyright is this is just a normal image. Okay, some of you might think this particular token is just an image, a blurred image of a pizza slice. But when a person who buys this NFT, for him, it's $1 million image. What if I sell you this particular image and I fool you for that particular $1 million? So this is the regulation that the copyright law at the moment needs, and we need amendments for these particular thefts as well. Now, the challenges that we have been talking about with the NFTs and the tokens, not only with regards to the trademarks or the corporates, but in general as well. It creates a dual ownership. So, as I gave you an example of the sneakers, okay, I have a sneaker in original, but also there's an image which is being given, which is a cryptographically signed certificate which is being given to me. What if I do not wish to keep a pair with me? I'll just sell it off. But then that particular cryptographically signed certificate will always be with me until unless there's a regulatory body which facilitates these transfers of NFTs. The next is dual availability of art. Now the question is, I have used certain methodology to create that particular or a blockchain to create that NFT in the market. But then, if can a someone, the question remains the same: can the other person use the same blockchain technology as well as the internet, the technical language to prepare other one? It's still a question which needs to be answered. The next is though there's no regulatory body, and this is basically one of the challenging issues which each government and each country is facing. Whether they are in need to prepare or make a regulatory body to facilitate buy, sell, or transfer or assignments of these NFTs. Now, the people of 90s will be much aware of this particular album. Why I've shown this particular album? It's basically because this is the first ever case on an NFT. This is a US case and is treated to be the first ever case where a person. So this is, I'll just tell you, this is the name of the case is Rockefeller versus Dash, where Dash is basically one of the founders of the album of the company itself. What happened? I'll just tell you in this particular case. Dash went because the rights were with the company. Dash went to get it transferred into a digital world through a blockchain, and it was in you can say it was not yet sold. But then the company somehow got to know about this particular sale as well as the NFT that Dash has got prepared. The argument which Dash gave was that it is one third of he is just selling his one third of the rights which he has in the company. But then the company went on to state that it's not the album stays with the company, not with the founders. Even if he has one third of his rights in the company, but then still those rights are not in the album. The rights of the album stays with the company itself. The matter is still fixed for hearing. The first hearing has been done, and as per the first order, Dash is not allowed and to sell this particular through NFTs in the market, through an NFT in the market. and not monetize that particular thing and convert that and enjoy that particular sale. So there's a second date of hearing which is fixed and which is yet the matter is yet to be decided by the court, by the US courts. Let's see what the future says. But yes, you can. It's a very interesting case which you should read, and I would suggest you because this will give you a basic idea of NFTs and how Dash converted this particular album into an NFT. So thank you so much for your time. This is just about where what I'm associated with, and RNA is basically a 2004 established company with two offices in India, one in Gurgaon and one in Chennai. We are 75 professionals who are working in this particular industry with the IP fields, not specific to only trademarks, copyrights, patents, and designs, but others as well. Thank you so much. I hope you liked it, and we'll move on to the next. We'll move on to the next thing, which is the question session, question answers round.
Thank you, sir. It was really an insightful presentation. Uh, I think audiences and me personally have been like thinking a lot of things out of the box. So thank you so much. So I think we have a really interesting conversation going on in the chat box. So yeah. So would you want me to go directly to the questions or
Yeah, please, we can move to the questions.
okay? So just a second. So, Miss Angela asked that in the case of the tweet, does payment of the specified amount make the purchaser the owner of the tweet? And how does it hold any value since that tweet is freely available on the internet?
See what happens with NFT. That is basically a drawback as well. When the buyer is transferring that particular amount, he'll get the NFTs, but then no other person can convert that in NFT. The tweet will still stay, but then that buyer will be the owner of that particular NFT or that particular tweet. The person who tweeted will not have any rights over that particular tweet then.
Okay. So moving on to the next question, Mr. Pranav asked that NFT only have value in exchange, but less value in use. But why do you think it has such appeal?
See, this is still an answer that we need to look for in future, because at the moment I would say I am not an art lover, but then people are heavily investing in this because if you imagine and if you just think of a situation where tomorrow it's legalized, you will be rich, and to a different extent you have no you are getting $1 million or $1 billion just for a tweet, and other person has to get himself famous in that particular stage because he owns a thing which is one in the world. So see, just to give you an example, if someone transforms or makes a image of Antilla, he'll be the owner of that Antilla image as an NFT, so he'll be anyway famous. And once and people are ready to buy that particular thing in the market, so that is how it's still a bubble until unless there's a law which is passed.
Uh, we have a follow-up question from Mr. Pranav only. So he says, based on the current understanding of blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs, all lucrative markets in the absence of effective laws and regulations, do you think it will cause more uncertainty or certainty in these virtual markets?
Yes, it will create these uncertainties, and there's a question which is, and to be very honest, there's a fear with all those people who are invested heavily in these markets because you do not even know what the law will be in upcoming times. Even if we take as basically a tax law or any other taxation law and money laundering law, if tomorrow this falls under a money laundering law, each and every person who has invested heavily in this market will be on the radar. So at the moment, the only issue with NFTs or cryptocurrency is that you cannot have any certainty in this market because the actions of our government at the moment, not even in India but internationally also, they do not look very positive in a way, except these 2 to 3 countries who have accepted it, but not the other ones. The only fear is this, but when we see on a positive side, there are a number of people who invested it, and in case, and that's basically a real money that has been converted into a Bitcoin and an Ethereum, which will be lost if this particular if these currencies are uh, termed to be illegal at in coming upcoming days. Sorry.
So we have next question from Mr. Aditya. He asked if NFT is attached to a novel hardware, then can it be patented in India?
See what happens with patents is you need to have a unique something which is basically unique, and even it's not about the functioning. Okay, so some hardware which is preparing that automatically, it's obviously will be an application can be filed, because as per the current times, a person who is making it, there'll be an AI, because now what happens will be the future is AI will be connected with these NFTs and automatically it will be created. And it's a very hot topic where AI has been granted that particular patent. So if that happens tomorrow, obviously that will be granted a patent.
We have next question from Mr. Rohit. He asked that what led to the data breach and theft at Polygon?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
He asked what led to the data breach and theft at Polygon. Polygon.
I'm really sorry because I'm not much aware of this particular thing, because I still need to research a lot on that.
Okay. We have next question from Ishba. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. Will the current investment itself be a driving force to legalization purely due to the financial pressure behind it?
Yes, and I have been focusing on that again and again. That this is one of the step which has basically put the government on hold in introducing this particular bill. If you see the statements by the government in last 1 month, they have changed automatically. If you see the bill and the bill which was yet to be introduced, if you see that particular thing, and if you read it, you will see it's a very negative bill which bans each and every kind of a private currency. Only the currency which will be valid, which will be a rupee, which will converted into a digital sign. But then, if this happens, and the moment the amount of to give you an example, there are a number of people in my connection who invested heavily in this particular thing. So yes, this is a driving force which is making them to come on a middle ground and decide whether to make it a legal or an illegal one.
Okay, so we have another question from Mr. Yashwant. He asked, what about contract for sale? Won't it cover NFTs?
See, it should cover NFTs, but then until unless there's a regulatory body, you cannot take. There are no penalties in that. And also, if you see the bill which is yet to be passed, at the moment, if you supposedly if the bill was passed and there was a law made, anything which related to that particular currency would have been an illegal act, and the person would have been penalized. So this is in a situation where it will be legal at a later stage. But in case if you see today, if you mention the contract, you are still on a safer side. But the drawback is you will not be even aware whether the person is selling that or not, because there's no single marketplace. So just to give you an example, if I wish to see any application or trademark application, I have a software, I have a website by government where I can see whether the application is filed or not. But in case if tomorrow I someone sells me that particular NFT with a contract that I'll not sell it further or publicize that particular in a later stage, that person will not even be aware whether I'm selling it or not, because there are thousands of platforms which are in the market through which I can sell it.
So there's a follow-up question from Mr. Yashwant only. He asked, can ownership of NFT be contradictory to the ownership rights or rights holder of the same or actual work if that works in a possession with another person or the rights invested with that person? For example, rights of Antilia with the architect, but the NFT with another.
Yes, so that will obviously happen until unless. So what happens in the copyright as well? The creator basically signs a NOC that this particular thing is not with us and we have already transferred it. The same will happen in the present case, but the issue is it will create a dual ownership. You have a NOC which will be signed, but then at a later stage, even if you transfer that to a third person, if you resell that particular thing, there's no such document or regulatory body which will track that. So until unless that there's a body, it will obviously create a dual owner, because on records and on that particular signed certificate, cryptographically signed certificate, you are still the owner.
So Mr. Pranav is interested to know your opinion on his question. So he asked, the government's current attitude suggests a lack of understanding coupled with paranoia. The bill also reflects the same instead of appreciating the financial viability and revenue potential of these markets. So what will be your view on that?
See, my personal view, obviously, with that, it's a good platform, as I also mentioned. With the government, basically, is the issue is they have a basic idea of the concept, like how it works and everything, but then they are not in the favor of the private companies or the private coins which are circulating in the market. If you see the price, there's no, and even if tomorrow if I buy a Bitcoin in the market and if I there's a fraud in the market, I'll be left with nothing. So it's more concerned towards launching a private currency which is circulated and regulated by the government rather than investing, which is more reliable, rather than investing in something which is not even regulated. I cannot track the owner of the Bitcoin because that's a digital world. If I there's a fraud which is done against me, I cannot even track that person where that person is sitting. There's no reliability on that coin. So this is on a personal. My personal view on this would be they are taking their time to basically understand how to regulate this particular thing instead of banning it in total.
Okay. So also the one of the question that you asked during the presentation about the bubble thing, that whether this is a bubble. So I think many of the audiences have said that this is a bubble because of the lack of understanding and a lack of regulation that we are facing right now with respect to this thing. Because personally, I also feel that whether it's regulated or not, we cannot deny the fact that it is being dealt with. So yes, and regarding your next question regarding its benefit and its impact on the intellectual property, so many of them said that it has an impact because of its uniqueness and novelty. So yeah, that's I think that's the major concern. Do we have any other questions? Uh, I think I have a personal question from my side. So it's just a very general question. So if you think in future, in long term, we somehow legalize this thing and we have regulations on this respect. So what are the twists that should come in the first sale doctrine if we just talk about the copyright law?
Himani, I couldn't hear your question because there's some internet issue at your end. If you can just repeat it.
Am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
my question is like a very general one. So if we think that if we like assume that this particular thing is legalized and regulated in the long run, so what are the twists that you think should come in the first sale doctrine if we just think about the copyright aspect of it?
See, if it is legalized in a long run, in general, except apart from IP, there will be information technology law which will come in the picture first. Apart from that, this money laundering act will come in the picture because there are people who have sold. Because once this is legalized, you have to give a track of all the earnings that you have made from these particular currencies. Okay, and by buying or selling of tokens. So the amount there will be a lot of regulation in case this is in case if this will not include the retrospective effect of the earnings and everything, that can still be a saver for many. But then if it considers the retrospective effect on these particular laws, then it will pose a really big issue and problem for many of the people who have bought this and sold this in the market. Because what happens currently also, when you file an income tax return, even your 1 rupee or 5 rupees is still shown in that particular thing. And if tomorrow these are legalized, you have to give it. The crores and you have invested in will have to be tracked, will be tracked by the government, and then it might lead to a blunder and a big issue for some of the people.
Yeah, that perfectly answers my question. So I think we are at the end of the session since we have no further questions. So to conclude this session, I'd just like to thank everyone for this wonderful and informative session. It was a delight to have you with us today. And I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Girish Bhatia for giving us his precious time. We could not have a better speaker and a trainer for this workshop. So thank you so much, sir. I'd like to thank IP Press for this wonderful opportunity. And lastly, to all the attendees for making this session a fun and interactive one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Imani, and thank you so much, everyone.